Has someone ever told you that something you're about to do is going to be hard, or that you have to work hard to accomplish X, Y, or Z? That's the lie we're going to address today here on episode number 250 of the In a Weekend podcast. Welcome, everyone. I'm Yong, your podcast host, and I'm on a mission to help 1,000 women who run their own businesses start a podcast of their own in the next year. Not by doing it the hard way and working really hard, but by learning to do it the easy way. I'd love to know if you've ever been told something is going to be hard. Let me give you some examples on the lies that I've really believed for so much of my life that I'm now discovering are not actually reality. You have to work hard in school to get good grades and to get into a good school. You have to work really hard in college in order to find a good job. You have to hustle and work really hard at your job to make an impact. Well, my friends, while that may be true to a certain extent, I can honestly say when it comes to podcasting, there's no reason to do it the hard way. What do I mean about doing it the hard way? Well, if you are interested in podcasting and you maybe follow a couple of big names in the field of podcasting right here on this platform even, you may learn that, okay, you have to go out and buy all this equipment. You have to really work hard at making some money, number one, to buy all this equipment you need to podcast. That's definitely not true. While I am using a camera and a microphone that are external from my computer, I didn't buy them in the very beginning. I kind of worked my way up into this place where I have different pieces of equipment. They've come over time. So when it comes to podcasting, don't believe the lie that you have to do it the hard way and wait until you get all the proper equipment. If you have a smartphone, you can start your podcast today. And I did an episode previously all about starting where you are when it comes to podcasting and starting with what you have. I'll be sure to link it up in today's show notes at yongpratt.com/250 so you can go back and take a listen, and I give you a couple of different examples of what starting with what you have and what you already have in your possession to start with your podcast. That's the easiest way to get going. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to set up everything in the beginning. That's something else. That it's hard to set up all these things. You need this, and you need this, and you need this. There's talk about funnels, and there's talk about all these things. Yes, they are important. But in order to just get started, you may want to have those things in the back of your mind, but not everything has to be figured out first, and you don't have to put a lot of effort and work yourself to the bone setting up all those systems and configuring software and doing all those things in the beginning. In the beginning, I really want you to not believe the lie, because it is easy for you to start a podcast, especially when you know the right tools, you implement the right systems, and you find out that some of the steps in the podcasting process can be automated. That's when the fun really starts. And that is what I have in store for you inside of Podcast in a Weekend. It's my premier course that gets people from zero to podcast in as little as a weekend. For the final time this year, the final time this decade, the doors are officially open, and you can actually save your seat over on our show notes today, yongpratt.com/250, and you can find out all about this program. One of our star students actually went from zero to podcast in just 4 hours. If someone else has done it, you, my friends, can do it as well. It's kind of like the history of running the mile. Everyone thought it was going to take so long until someone broke that record. And when that record was broken, people kept doing it faster and faster and faster. So I'd love to challenge you to take a step back from the lies you may have heard about podcasting. And the biggest one I hear about is that it's so hard to start. There's so many steps. I don't know that I can handle all of it because it's just too much work. And again, I want to just remind you that you were put on this planet with special gifts and talents. Those gifts and talents need to be shared with those people in your life that can benefit from what you are offering, what you are doing to serve them. And one of the easiest ways to reach more people with your message, thereby making a bigger impact, is with your own podcast. And the way that I love to teach podcasting is all about simplicity. I like to peel away all the extraneous things and really starting with where you are right now and what you have in your arsenal right now. And if you have a smartphone, you have the ability to go live on a platform like Facebook, you can then turn that one piece of content, that video, into a podcast quickly and easily. And inside of Podcast in a Weekend, I actually show you how to do that automatically. Because for me, having a podcast is not about working harder and putting in so much effort that you exhaust yourself and there's nothing left for anything else in your life. It's about working smarter. And again, by using systems and learning how to use tools that help you to automate, podcasting then becomes easy. It becomes joyful. It becomes not just another thing on your to-do list. It becomes a tool that you can use again and again and again because it has longevity to it. And I want to show you how you can do this quickly and easily in as little as a weekend during my upcoming class, Podcast in a Weekend. I do want to let you know that this is the last time I'll be offering Podcast in a Weekend at this price point of $397. In the new year, in the new decade, we're going to be rolling out Podcast 2.0, and I can tell you that that price point will be at least double what it is now because we have some fun new things planned, again, with starting with the easy steps. Once those little easy baby steps are in place, we'll talk about the next steps and the next steps. So unlike most courses, it's kind of backwards. It's kind of front-loaded where we're going to do a lot of work in the weekend. But again, we've had students go through this in 4 hours, get their podcast launched. And then there's going to be some extra added support because I've seen my students needing some more support. So I'm going to step in and offer some more things. So if you're wanting to get in on this price point and launch your podcast before the clock strikes midnight on the new year, just a few weeks away, I invite you to join me inside of Podcast in a Weekend. And if there's someone that you know that is interested in podcasting, would you mind taking this video and sprinkling it across the internet and letting other people know that it's possible to start a podcast, to create a podcast without doing it the hard way, without having to do everything manually. It's really about easy. And I know sometimes in the beginning it can feel like easy is not enough. That if it's easy, then you must be doing something wrong. Trust me, I have had those feelings myself where I get a little panicky because it seems too easy or too good to be true. But I can tell you from personal experience that the reason my podcast has been able to go on now until its 250th episode is because a lot of what I do is automated. And I'd love to show you those secrets. If you have any questions about podcasts in a weekend, definitely drop them down below. I will put all of the places you can go to check out the program. We do kick off this weekend. And while that may seem a little bit fast, sometimes jumping into something, taking fast action is far better than waiting until the time is just right, because you and I both know the timing will never be perfect. The timing will never be just right. So let's take some imperfect action together. Let's make your dream of podcasting a reality. Let's launch your podcast this weekend so that when you raise your glass to toast your accomplishments on New Year's Eve, that you get to celebrate the launch of your very own podcast. Okay, my friends, I wish you an amazing day. I look forward to answering any questions you have about podcasts in a weekend, and I hope that I'll be seeing you inside the class this weekend. Cheers, my friends.